Hello and welcome to Ben's Addiction. This can be your problem too. As you can see, my speedometer is stuck at 80 kilometers an hour and I am doing only 25 or 30k an hour. So this can happen to any Mercedes-Benz W211, W203 or any C215 or any CLS class. So let's go and find out how to fix this, because this is an easy fix and you don't have to replace your cluster. If you also need to clean up inside your cluster, or if you want to remove your cluster for any reason, this video will help you. So stay tuned. Important point when removing the cluster is that you need to put your steering wheel all the way down and all the way out, so you have enough space over here. To remove the cluster, you need to put your rod inside this groove over here, straight, go in straight, and then push. You should be able to feel a springy plastic going back. Just like that. It's like 120 millimeter inside, and then when you turn it and pull it back, one side of the cluster should come out like that. And then we will do the same on the other side. Let me show you how this mechanism works when you want to remove any E-class or CLK or C-class cluster. So as you can see here, this plastic over here, the clip over here, should go up to allow this plastic to release the cluster itself. And in order to do that, you need to make a small rod like this, a 150 millimeter bar like that. And then when you insert it from here, you see how it goes and touches this. And at the same time, if you pull the cluster back, it will be released. And what you need to pull is from this plastic over here. It's a bit confusing. You might think that you might pull this clear plastic, but obviously the whole cluster plastic needs to be pushed back. So you can do this one side at a time. One simple rod like this would be enough. And of course, there is only one plug behind the cluster. And when you want to remove it, you need to push on this tab over here and then push this like that. Okay, for removal, we need to pull back on 7 of these clips. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 clips that you need to pull back, and just start from one side and continue. So when you removed all 7 of these, you will feel a little bit of resistance. So there are 3 plastic pins around the main dial, which is the speedometer, and those should come out gradually. If you jerk or pull suddenly, you might break those 3 plastic pins. So make sure those are the adjusting pins or installation pins that makes this whole assembly to go exactly where it should go. So make sure you do that gradually. 3 of these plastics that goes into the cluster. So you need to work out gradually and remove this. You cannot just pull very hard, you will break these. So just be vigilant, make sure you gradually work out around. And then there is one important point over here. You see this bad boy, the big one? I didn't bother to remove it from down there because I didn't want to risk breaking it. But you see there is a indentation over here and indentation over there. you should be able to cross it through that hole. Okay, so here's the mechanism out, and I watched this mechanism like working. It's a very beautiful mechanism. So after moving this up and down like 50 times, I realized this mechanism, when it reached to 60 kilometers, I had extra resistance over here. So there is a motor over here that operates this whole mechanism over here. So I realized around 60 area I had extra resistance. So probably the reason why this motor couldn't turn this mechanism above 60. So what is happening here is very simple, but it took me like 30 minutes of thinking. There is an adjusting screw over here and mechanism over here. You see that spring over here? This adjusts the tightness of this mechanism. So this adjustment over here was extra tight. You will be able to adjust this gradually. So if you push it down, it will make it tighter. And if you push it up, of course, it makes it looser. But you want that looseness to some extent. You don't want it all the way loose. So what had happened, it was extra tight at that 60 area. So you see over here, it gets stuck because this is now so loose. I should push this down just a little bit to keep it tight, but not so tight enough. You see that moved a little bit. So that's what I'm talking about. And what you want this gear to be functional and smooth around all the kilometers or miles. So this is how I feel now. It's very smooth here as well as here. I feel a bit of more resistance at 80, so that's going to be problematic. Probably I need to loosen this just a bit more to let it, yeah, that would be the one. And I can feel almost no resistance over here. So I think it's now the way it should be, and it's fixed, because before it was not easy to go above 60. It's a hell of a job to buy one of these and replace. Replacing means that you need to code this into the ECU and the whole system. So that is going to be a big job, even if you source this from a similar, let's say 2003 CLK 500 or E-Class W211. That you need a very soft cloth. You see the shadow over there? You need to kind of clean that while it's open. And also this over here inside is some sort of dust. It's a very good time to clean that too, to make it nice and shiny. I'm using a soft cloth for cleaning the glasses and things like that. So be very gentle, of course, and just to remove the dust and debris. Same for here. I don't recommend washing this at all, because it leaves stains on the clear glass or the clear plastic. So should be sufficient to get rid of some of the dust and debris, and that takes time. Just take your time. Okay, very clean and happy about the results. At least inside the clear plastic is very clean now. That's a positive. And of course there is no resistance over here anymore when it comes to 60 mark. It's smooth all the way. Speedometer reset should go back in, and it takes some effort to just make that come through the hole, and then make sure everything is in place. So what we need here is gradually putting everything back. Just need to check everything to make sure, for example, this is not the way it should be, and now I can see it's easily going in, but first I want to check this side too to make sure. And there we go. It's easily sitting back where it should. Before putting it back, make sure if you look inside, everything is in place and there is no gap around the dials, just in case. And then make sure, one good test would be to make sure this dial is working nice and smoothly, which it is. So now let's go and put it back. To put the cluster back, put it in place, put the connector in and just push it back until you hear that click. Okay, let's go for a test drive and see if the speedometer getting stuck at 60 kilometers an hour is fixed or not. Okay, so far so good, but let's try it above 60 kilometers an hour. So it's very precise at this moment at 40 kilometers an hour. Let's do 0 to 80 and that shows everything now. Ready? 1. So that's 0. 1, 2, 3. That is working perfectly. Okay guys, thanks so much for watching, liking, subscribing. Have a great day. Bye.
Let's go.
3, 2, 1.